I first learned about DVTs in the 1980s, working as a vascular technologist in a diagnostic imaging laboratory in California, where I would do diagnostic tests to find DVTs on the legs and arms. And then later on in life, my husband was diagnosed with lung cancer. And one of the side effects was blood clots in the legs, which we never knew that one was related one to the next. And the first signs of my husband's illness was not coughing or wheezing, but swelling of the legs, redness, and the doctors first thought he had gout, and then they said he had cellulitis, and then later on they did a ultrasound where we actually saw the blood clot in the leg, and he had several. It was 1 month one leg and 1 month the other, and it was only the type of cell that was the type of lung cancer that he had that gives a DVT. It's not every type of lung cancer, and it's not everybody that has lung cancer has the DVT, but just this one type of cell. Working with the lab, the most important thing is pay attention to your body. If you have any kind of pain, any kind of swelling, and even shortness of breath, the first thing you have to do is go to the doctor, go to the emergency room. People take it for granted that, oh, it just hurts a little bit, but a DVT can travel to your lungs, and it develops in 2 minutes, and you can actually, I as a technologist saw it many times on screen developing in 2 minutes, and it travels and it kills instantly. Pregnant women get it immediately. I mean, they get the symptoms in a pregnancy, and they take it for granted. Don't listen to the doctor. Don't wear their stockings, and it's deadly. And listen to your body and listen to the doctor. And if you see any changes at all, swelling, redness, pain behind the knee especially, and in your arms too, you see the swelling in your arms and your hands and tingling, and you can't move your arm, run to the emergency room.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, the reason I became aware of DVT is because a very close cousin of mine had the problem after she flew on a plane to visit us from Seattle, Washington to New York. And then a week later, they flew back to Seattle. At that time, she was about 19 years old and was getting ready to go off to college, which she did very shortly after that. While at college, she started feeling a pain in her leg and didn't know what was causing it, went to the hospital, and while she was there, she had a DVT. An embolism was shot to her lungs, and she died very shortly after that. They said the cause was because she sat on the plane and didn't do any kind of walking or getting up, and from not doing any exercise, that created the problem.
This is how I became aware of DVT. Actually, my daughter's coworker, Jamie, she was 32, traveling back from Europe to the USA. She got injured that morning, sprained her ankle, and took a flight back home. Her ankle started to get swelling even more, and when she went to the doctor, I guess she waited a few days, and then she went to the doctors. They admitted her to the hospital, and a day later she died, and she was diagnosed with the DVT. And the doctor said that it could have been related to either to the injury or to the flight. The only other thing I know about her that she was overweight. I don't know if that has to do with it, and that it was really quick from that flight to the day that she died. It was really very quick and sudden. Another case of DVT that is very close to me is my sister that was pregnant, and while she was on her pregnancy, when she got to her 6th month, the doctor wanted to have a forced delivery, and she was diagnosed with a blood clot that traveled to her throat, and the doctor said that it was related to her pregnancy, and since then she has to be on a blood thinner just to take care of the problem.
Good evening. My name is John Fisher, and I'd like to speak a little bit about my experience with DVT. My brother and my mother just recently had an episode with DVT, both of them, and they had flown recently. They had traveled. My mother had gone overseas, and my brother had traveled to Dakota. And they both had varying different episodes of DVT and suffered from it differently. My mother had some swelling in her left lower extremity and painful swelling down below, and she was diagnosed and admitted to the hospital. My brother had shortness of breath and to the point of almost passing out, and he was admitted to the hospital and was diagnosed with a pulmonary embolism. They had interviewed both my mom and my brother and found that they had both traveled recently, and they deduced that it was related to the blood clots from DVT. So they both spent a couple of days in the hospital and varying treatments. Both of them had received blood thinners, Coumadin, and my brother has also been prescribed compression socks for when he flies again. Both of them will be flying again soon. So there is some concern as to it happening again, and so that they're being treated to prevent it in the future. So that's basically about it. That's my experience with it, and I'd like to thank Glenn USA for allowing me to speak about DVT and my experience with it. Thank you.